On YouTube, for the past few years, there's a big industry that's exploded in popularity, and it's based on a simple concept. Hassan bad, Hassan Piker is bad, and he's dumb, and bad and a terrorist, probably. It's also wild because the political content creator in question is an anti-genocide content creator, and the arguments they're attacking him for are anti-genocide arguments. So these creators, they're positioning themselves in opposition to him and his arguments, de facto positioning themselves on the pro-genocide side.
Well, I mean, maybe these people don't like Hassan Piker because he says a lot of dumb things that aren't always related to the Israel-Palestine situation. In fact, most of the criticism towards him over the years has nothing to do with that at all. But according to Noah, anyone who criticizes Hassan now loves it when people die. Okay, I'm loving the us versus them mentality. And, well, I think it's time for the yearly Noah Samsen check-in. Last time was pretty crazy with the Illumination stuff, but this time Noah seems to be even more off his meds than usual. I guess he decided that slandering one of his opponents to try to get his audience to deplatform that opponent wasn't enough, so now he's slandering a bunch of big YouTubers to try to get his audience to, well, we'll get to that. But first, a little backstory on the whole Hassan Piker, Noah Samsen, and Ethan Klein situation. About 2 months ago, YouTuber Ethan Klein released a content nuke on his former Leftovers podcast co-host Hassan Piker, who has endorsed things like terrorism, has violated the Twitch rules numerous times, and never gets in trouble for it like any other creator who is not Hassan would. Some people might call that a double standard. In response to Ethan's video, boosted e-girl Noah Samsen, who basically has had his entire career made by Hassan reacting to his videos, decided that he can't have people criticizing his pay pig, because if people point out all the rule breaking that Hassan has done and he gets banned from Twitch, who would boost all of Noah's videos? So after Ethan's content nuke, Noah made this video called The YouTubers Who Backed a Genocide. You got Destiny on the left, Turkey Tom in the middle, Mudahar on the right of him, and to the far right, you have Ethan Klein doing sort of the closest screenshot that Noah could get of something that looks like a Nazi salute. And basically, Noah spends his whole video saying stuff like this. Jews rock! I love Jews! Wait, that's the wrong clip. This is the correct one.
Israel has a long history of intentionally targeting Palestinian civilians for slaughter. Genocide isn't just a bad thing that's happening where people are dying. No, that's not what it is. It's a Holocaust. The U.S.-Israeli Holocaust. That's what it should be called. Israel is using everything in its power to eradicate Palestinians from the planet. The fact that Israel's actions in Gaza amount to genocide isn't controversial. Not among the experts, at least.
That basically sums up Noah's whole response to Ethan's content nuke on Hassan. There's a lot of misery porn of Palestinians being hurt, and Israelis are the Voldemort-like evil perpetrators of that harm. And look, personally, I don't have a lot of interest in this war. I'm not a big fan of the U.S. getting involved with other people's drama, and contrary to Noah's completely one-sided coverage, it seems like both sides have done some pretty horrible things. But this video is not about fact-checking Noah's research on Israel and Palestine, which I'm sure is as horrendous as it usually is. What this video is actually about is Noah Samsen pushing his audience towards violent radicalism through slandering other creators and openly calling for his audience to use violence to achieve their political goals. That being said, let's go further into detail for why Noah didn't like Ethan's content nuke on Hassan.
The real reason I'm talking about Ethan's video today is less about what he says in it and more about what he doesn't say, the things he chooses to leave out. Ethan omits the Palestinian side of the story entirely. He doesn't talk about Gaza. He doesn't give any specifics about what Israel is doing there. And this is an issue. Western media manufactures consent for large-scale terror operations across the globe in a number of ways. There are more overt forms, like atrocity propaganda. There are also more subtle ways, like deceptively framing information, using passive language, and creating false perceptions about conflicts through things like burying the lead and lies by omission. All of these tactics are present in Ethan's video and the wider online smear campaign that motivated it, but it's that last thing that I think does quite a bit of damage, lying by omission.
So this is incredibly dishonest framing from Noah. Ethan's video is more about Hassan and not fully a response to the Israel-Palestine situation, so of course Ethan is going to talk about the Israel side a lot more, because he's playing opposition to Hassan. Even still, Ethan makes a point in his video to sympathize with what's happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. Funnily enough, Noah actually includes one of these moments in his video, but he is such a sociopath that he takes this moment that Ethan is using to sympathize with the Palestinians and uses it to attack him.
Towards the start of his video, Ethan mentions a death toll figure of 40,000 Palestinian people.
Of course, if you compare the raw numbers, Gazans have lost a lot more than Israelis. 40,000 people have died, and neighborhoods have been completely flattened during this war.
The figure he cites is wrong. It's just wrong. Credible estimates have placed the full scale of the slaughter in Gaza at over 65,000 deaths due to traumatic injury.
Who cares if you got the number wrong? That's not the point of this statement. The point is to do something that Noah, the nice guy of YouTube, has never really gotten the hang of, which is to spend at least a second of your video showing the humanity in your opponent. I really find it disgusting that instead of using this moment to find common ground with Ethan, Noah downplays Ethan trying to humanize the Palestinians. He actually does this again later in the video as he chastises Ethan for daring to donate to Palestinian victims.
Hey, Ethan Klein, thank you for the dono. Ethan Klein gave $6,500. My goat.
What did he do? He donated to a fundraiser. Okay, but what if I told you that this donation was a one-time donation of what is likely less than 1% of his yearly income?
Gee, with a thank you like that, why would anyone want to help the Palestinians? That being said, Ethan Klein wasn't too happy about the slander from Noah Samsen, especially the part where Noah called him a supporter of mass murder of innocent people that Ethan, by the way, in reality sent money to and openly sympathized with on multiple occasions. So now lawyers are getting involved.
And again, I'm not taking any prisoners. If my attorney thinks there's anything in here, if he thinks that there's like a decent shot of defamation, I'm suing this fucking piece of shit. It's a little scumbag. It's not a threat. You'll be hearing from us very soon, my friend. Start crowdfunding, start looking for an attorney. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fun.
And Ethan has every right to sue Noah for this. Maybe now one of these radical leftist influencers will actually suffer legal consequences for committing crimes. This is absolutely slander. Not only did Noah make this thumbnail straight up accusing Ethan of supporting people being murdered, not only did he remove important context from multiple things in his video, but he also doubled down on it.
So he is threatening to sue me for defamation on the grounds that accusing someone of supporting genocide is messed up. I can think of something even more messed up than accusing someone of supporting genocide, which is, actually supporting genocide.
Noah actually has a history of making false accusations with his video titles and thumbnails. This is not a new behavior from him. Speaking of the Alienation drama, where a YouTuber I reacted to tried to get me a channel strike by telling her followers to mass flag me, last year, Noah used an intentionally deceptive title and thumbnail to make people think that I doxed Alienation in retaliation for the mass flagging campaign, when in reality, I in fact not only did not do that, but I openly told people to not attack her even though she told her followers to attack me. Noah, the lover of context and the hater of lies by omission, seemed to forget to inform people of the part where I very emphatically said in my video, hey, don't harass this person. And, of course, his title had the intended effect of making people believe I did something that I did not do.
The title is Think Before You Dox, right?
Right.
And I read that title, and that's why I watched the video. I was like, damn, that's juicy. What the fuck? Think Before You Sleep dox this woman?
That was my understanding from the title. Yeah. That was my immediate conclusion. That's not what happened at all.
So many similarities here. It seems like Noah has a really bad habit of accusing his enemies of supporting things they are openly in opposition to. Now, Ethan Klein isn't the only one suing Noah. In a really unfortunately cropped tweet, Mudahar has announced that he will also be suing Noah. The tweet says, in the last couple weeks, a YouTuber, Noah Samsen, has uploaded a few videos labeling me as a genocide supporter. Normally, I would not engage with this discourse, but this has affected my business and has bled into my personal life. Mudahar goes on to say that he is a Muslim, doesn't like what the Israeli Defense Force has done, and will be suing Noah for defamation. Now, to further emphasize Mudahar's stance on the whole Israel-Palestine thing, let's watch this clip that I found. Well, I found it on Noah's list of source citations from his video.
I think that there is an actual case of, genocide, and there's an actual case of attack that goes towards the Palestinian people. I think there's very serious situations that go around the world. If you've ever grown up Muslim, and I have, then you know that there is a serious culture of anti-Semitism, in amongst the most conservative of Muslim circles. Just as you will know that there is a serious amount of Islamophobia in the most right-wing of Jewish circles. These are two groups of people that literally are just fighting each other. And when it comes to people dying in a conflict zone like Gaza right now, there is literally nothing that I feel other than sadness for men, women, and children needlessly dying for no reason.
Again, this was listed as one of Noah's sources, so he saw this, which makes Mudahar at least the third person that Noah has accused of supporting things they are openly opposed to.
Mudahar, who I've spoken with about this, I especially feel bad for because he is a practicing Muslim and he's part of a Muslim community, and he's accusing Mudahar of being pro-genocide for basically saying he disagrees with Hassan promoting terrorist groups. These fucking white savior losers, man. It's like he's weaponizing his own religion against him, saying he's like a bad Muslim. That's the insinuation.
So basically, again, if you don't like Hassan and point out the double standards on Twitch, then you like it when innocent people die. Nice, Noah. You really stood up for your cash cow Hassan Piker. I'm sure he will happily continue boosting your views.
Hassan spent 2 hours watching this one. He spent 2 hours watching the first one on his stream in its entirety, glazing him up.
And again, let me further emphasize that outside of being an editor for Cody Co., Noah Samsen was literally a nobody on YouTube before Hassan Piker started reacting to all of his content and sending him followers. This is why he's glazing Hassan so hard here in this drama, and probably why he also joined the Israel-Palestine meta like all the other Hassan groupies.
I think Hassan likes that this conflict's going on. His views were starting to dwindle until this whole October 7th situation happened, and then his views went back up. If you don't think that he's loving every minute that Israelis or Palestinians kill each other, you're dumb as fuck.
Now, believe it or not, this whole situation between Noah Samsen and Ethan Klein actually gets much worse. Defamation isn't the only problem here, but in order to understand what's going on, I feel like I need to add some context. So let's back it up a bit. That being said, a major tipping point in this YouTube/Twitch Israel-Palestine drama was an infamous panel at TwitchCon 2024 where Denims, Frogan, and some other people that nobody knows did this like game where they rated content creators from Arab to Love Sabra, which honestly seems like a boring idea for a panel, but apparently there was a hidden dog whistle in there.
Because Frogan is the two-time Rising Star champ, and because of her massive viewership of 100 concurrent viewers, it only makes sense that Twitch would give her one of the main stages at TwitchCon to do a 45-minute long segment. Her idea that was Twitch approved, an Arab to Jew racial tier list. Top and most desirable tier is Arab. And at the bottom, the worst one is, quote, loves Sabra. Now, why does Love Sabra equate to Jews? Sabra is a well-known Israeli company that makes hummus. Oh yeah, and Sabra literally means a Jew that was born in Israel. They pulled me, one of the best-known Jewish creators, and immediately put me in Sabra. Love Sabra, literally in this case, means Jew lover. So you're telling me you understand what a microaggression is, but you can't understand why a Jewish man might be uncomfortable with this. I feel like this is indefensible, blatant, obvious anti-Semitism, and this was greenlit by Twitch to appear on their main stage.
You've got to be kidding me. They're saying Jew lover as a slur in the modern day. Is this To Kill a Mockingbird? Are we back in the 60s? All these anti-racists are calling people the equivalent of N-word lovers as an insult to those who disagree with them.
And again, these are the same people that judged me based on the thumbnail that I used for like the Keffels video. So to give you a quick idea to understand, putting two Jews in the F tier kind of gives you an idea of like where they're at. Arab being at the top, Jew being at the bottom, okay? This is literally hateful conduct occurring on the platform.
Let this be a lesson that those who are actually racist will do so openly and are proud of it. They don't try to hide it or apologize if they get accused of racism. This has always been the case. So anyway, a number of people noticed that Capcom, Samsung, and Chevron were sponsoring this racist panel, so they did a mass emailing campaign saying, hey, did you know that these people you were sponsoring were openly saying racial slurs right in front of your brand name? After this campaign, Hassan groupies, Frogan, and Denims got a 30-day ban on Twitch, to which I personally celebrated by getting some hummus at my local store. I mean, they probably only got banned because they lost Twitch money and not for any moral reasons, because both of them have done way worse rule violations, but close enough. I'll take this as a win for justice. But all of this is to point out that the Hassan fan club has many members in it who don't like Jewish people very much, and that includes Noah Samsen, which brings us back to Noah's video. You see, ironically, Noah complained that Ethan was a liar who was lying by omission. Here's a reminder of that.
But it's that last thing that I think does quite a bit of damage, lying by omission.
What's funny is that if you actually watch Noah's video and aren't ideologically possessed, you can pretty easily notice that Noah does basically everything that he accuses Ethan of. This is a repeated tactic that he uses in a lot of his content, and I mean that it is uncanny how much important context that Noah either removes or completely leaves out for the purpose of radicalizing his audience and enraging them against his enemies. For example, a part of Noah's video was about people rightfully complaining that Hassan has violated Twitch rules numerous times by doing things like promoting a terrorist organization, and he's only gotten a one-day ban for it, and only after Twitch started getting bad press. Yet Asmongold has a single moment where he said some bad stuff, and he got a 14-day ban. In his video, Noah talks about this ban and shows a clip of Asmongold saying some messed up things.
Asmongold made some comments that explicitly justified Israel's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza.
I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. They come from an inferior culture. I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
Noah actually shows this moment in both the videos that he's being sued for. And I'll agree that this clip is pretty bad. If you only saw that, you would think that Asmongold is a horrible person. This is the obvious conclusion that anyone would come to if you don't know much else about him, which probably describes most of Noah's audience. There's one problem, though. Asmongold very famously apologized for these statements. Now, since 2 years ago, Noah boasted about his expertise in media literacy, I imagine that Noah didn't show Asmongold's apology so that his audience would believe that Asmon is evil. And to be more clear, Noah definitely knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. He left that apology out on purpose to further radicalize his audience. There's no way that Noah didn't know about that apology, because not only was it a huge event on his part of the internet, but also that video of Mudahar's that he sourced mentioned it. So because in my opinion, Noah left that apology out intentionally, allow me to play some of it for the people who haven't seen it yet.
A couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine and also about Hamas and some just general, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there. I said something about it that was disgusting. I said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed by another force, by anything. And I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say. Everybody who's come and spoken out and talked to me and said stuff about me, I want to say that I really appreciate you. And I think this has been something that's a long time coming. And I actually think that this is something that not only I deserved, but it's also something that I needed.
Now, is it possible that this clip might make some of Noah's audience feel less negatively towards Asmongold? One would think. I mean, I don't like Frogan, but I'm not such a jackass that I wouldn't at least mention that she apologized, sort of, for saying that U.S. soldiers deserve PTSD. So again, I think Noah leaves this stuff out on purpose. This is not about moral consistency or good faith interaction. This is a game to him, and he's doing this stuff as like a sort of propaganda tactic to win whatever battle he thinks he's in. Or he's being paid to be this bad faith. Though I have to say that Noah has gotten a lot more effective at propaganda and audience manipulation over the past year. Someone's been practicing. I actually had to put effort into counter-arguing this time because he's trickier now. There were a lot of subtleties that I missed on the first watch. Probably the most effective tactic that Noah uses to encourage racism is emotional pulls. In writing, the way that you compel the audience to emotionally care about your characters is to give them a backstory that describes their relationships, their hopes and dreams, and their struggles. Also, if you can accurately align the aspects of your character's backstory with common experiences that your audience has had, they'll get even more emotionally attached to the person that you're talking about. Character backstories are how you can be sad at the idea of a person like John Wick dying, but you don't care about the hundreds of nameless people that he kills throughout the movie. You have the details on John Wick, but you never see random Hitman number 87's backstory and how the people in his life might deal with his death. This means that John Wick is humanized, but the random Hitman isn't. He's just a number, and that's done on purpose so the audience won't care about him. On the other side of humanization through backstory, you can also dehumanize a character and make the audience hate them by only showing their bad deeds. That being said, Noah is aware of this aspect of human psychology, which is why he spends what feels like most of the 2 videos on Ethan Klein telling stories about the hardships that the Palestinians have faced, and he even says that some of them are his friends. This is to get the audience to care about Palestine on an emotional level, which is fine, he can do that. And it does sound like innocent Palestinians have faced some pretty horrible atrocities like having family members die, being crippled, or being sexually assaulted. It's always terrible when innocent people are hurt in the crossfire of war, which is why I'm very anti-war and very against the use of violent tactics. However, remember that Noah's biggest criticism of Ethan Klein is that Ethan was lying by omission by not telling the Palestine side of the war. Well, this war is a two-way street, and both sides have done some pretty awful things. The problem here is that Noah only tells the Palestinian side of the story, while at the same time, this is how he represents the Israelis.
There's a comment I saw on Ethan Klein's video. It read, "I feel like a lot of people can't separate Israelis and the Israeli government, and the same with the other side. Like you are allowed to hate on the people who actually kill people and not hate the innocent adults and children that are being killed from both sides." This is a popular framing among liberals and liberal outlets, that we should separate the Israeli people from the actions of their government. While there are some examples from the past where this may be true, such as the case of the American public's attitudes towards the end of the Vietnam War, which diverged from their government, the same cannot be said in the case of Israel. The vast majority of the Israeli public supports this genocide. Months into the genocide, polling showed that over 95% of Jewish Israelis supported the IDF's actions, with a majority of those indicating that the IDF was not using enough force in Gaza. The force in question there being, genocide. They wanted more. It wasn't enough. This should come as no surprise, given Israel's history. A country that exists on the logic of ethnic supremacy and colonization requires a certain level of dehumanization to keep its inhabitants from collapsing under the weight of the reality of their rotten society.
Yeah, so those were some harsh words. Someone with 6,000 likes on his comment tries to humanize the innocent on both sides, while rightfully aiming blame at the evil people who are actually causing the war. Yet Noah takes the radical approach and dehumanizes one side by saying, "Actually, the Israelis are evil and rotten." Noah spends quite a bit of time establishing that basically all, not some, but basically all Jews in Israel are a bunch of murderers. Now, by comparison, Ethan just said there were some terrorist groups that he didn't like, but a lot of innocent people have suffered on both sides, and maybe the Israelis and the Palestinians could figure out a peaceful two-state solution. On the other hand, Noah spends the entire time in both of his videos making the Israelis look like the most evil scumbags in the world. I can only imagine that he's doing this with the intent of making his audience violent. Noah continues his anti-Israel messaging by showing a few interviews of Israeli citizens and their thoughts on Palestinians.
Another way to get a handle on the seemingly ubiquitous genocidal fervor among Israelis is by just talking to them.
How many civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know?
Who gives a shit?
Okay, but don't you feel like, for example, children?
Children grow up to be Arabs. I read the numbers last week. My memory died and went to heaven. I don't think children should suffer, but they're always casualties. And since they do a lot of pour-vu, that is the natural result.
Most of the kids there that are getting killed, I never support little children dying, I never want it. But most of them will grow up not only supporting Hamas, which is a crime by itself, but joining them, which is the worst of the worst.
These people know that they're on camera and that these remarks will be posted on the internet or shared on the mainstream news. This is normal to them. This is normal in their society, which is a testament to the fact that their society is not normal. Simply put, it's a genocidal society, top to bottom.
Now, I can agree that those are some very harsh words. However, people don't just say horrible things like this without a reason. Does Noah try to show why the Israelis are saying these things in an attempt to maybe add some nuance and not do the exact same thing that he accused Ethan Klein of? No, he doesn't. Noah never asked why Jewish people would say this stuff. Well, as someone who did basic research on this, maybe it has something to do with Hamas massacring people on October 7th. Like Noah, it turns out that I also happen to have a friend who lives in the area, so I thought I'd ask him about the Jewish perspective on why Israelis being interviewed in those clips said what they said. This was his response, and having missiles fired at you daily probably would make most people mad. My Israeli friend also notes that if there was peace, the negative feelings that the Israelis have towards the Palestinians would go away. And here's the thing. After talking to that friend, I went and watched the video that Noah took those interviews from, and it turns out that these people actually do say why they have such harsh feelings towards Palestinians, and Noah just cut around that. So let's add it back in.
Overall, the world does not really understand what's going on here. They do not grasp the concept that Israel was attacked.
Everything is happening because of a group called Hamas, Most of them, like around 75-ish%, despise Israel with everything that they hate about the world. Like, they hate everything about Israel. They don't want anything to do with us. They want us all dead, gone, and fucking, they want my head on a spike. All they see in their head is just eliminating every single human being that doesn't support, Islam, that's not Islamic, that's not Muslim.
Well, that changes things, doesn't it? Sure, they said some messed up things, but if Hamas wasn't also attacking innocent people, they wouldn't have those beliefs. Oh wait, it looks like Noah does show someone saying why she feels so negatively towards the Palestinians, except it's in a foreign language, so people have to read subtitles. This means that if they're multitasking while watching his video, which is very common with viewers, they won't see this added nuance. This is why when I make videos, I almost always repeat what the subtitles say if people are speaking in a foreign language. What Noah is doing here is something that I call a plausible deniability clause, where a dishonest creator will add nuance to make it look like they're being fair, but do so in such a way that nobody will notice it. This is so if someone criticizes Noah, he can say, "No, I put that in the video," while at the same time, basically none of his audience caught it, so he won't have to risk them being swayed by nuance that isn't good for his point. I actually didn't notice what this person said until my second watch. Also, here's the thing. I'm aware that Noah loves to misrepresent people, and I'm guessing that he didn't expect anyone to actually go fact-check the material that he used, which is reasonable. A lot of creators are lazy. But since I actually watched the full video, I know that Noah basically only showed the most inflammatory things that were said. If you actually watch the video, you can see multiple Israelis sympathizing with the Palestinians. Here's one of them.
Free Palestine from Hamas, and don't hate us Jews, we're really nice people, and we love life.
We want peace. We
And
just
we want
want peace, love, and rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
Wait, and you're willing to have peace with Palestinians?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, anytime.
Anytime.
Send the
With anybody,
government
anywhere.
now.
If they want peace, we want it.
So, Noah, as a journalist who's claiming to be more honest than these mainstream news outlets, why didn't you show this interview? Why did you only show the worst parts of this video? And for the people who did say bad stuff, why don't you cover what made them so radicalized against the Palestinians? Maybe discuss whether their feelings are justified or not based on factual reporting of the events. This is what an honest person who wanted a more peaceful outcome would do. Making no effort to humanize the Israelis or add nuance to their beliefs kind of makes it seem like you don't want a peaceful solution. It kind of makes it seem like you want violence. On top of that, Noah is so shameless in these two videos that he will even try to get his audience to hate young children by showing them saying things against Palestine.
The vile, dehumanizing racism that is required to uphold a project like this.
Because it's Palestine.
But I'm Palestinian. Does that mean I'm a
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Do you want Palestinians in Gaza to die?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes.
Random children on Omegle is considered to be strong enough evidence for Noah to put it in a video. Great journalistic integrity, man. Also, Noah left out the part where the children recognized the guy, and it looked like they were purposefully trying to say the most messed up thing possible because they're kids, and also this guy's kind of a dick to people on his channel. I don't know, he has like multiple pinned videos of little kids that are clearly designed to turn you into a racist, as well as a number of other videos with millions of views on them that feature children under 12 saying things that he knows his audience will hate. Did their parents consent to them being on film? This guy is suspicious, I don't trust him. Anyway, I cannot stress this enough that Noah is 100% suggesting that basically all Israelis are reprehensible. Earlier, he even showed polling data to emphasize that, and he ends his first video by saying this.
October 7th blew the lid off the genocidal Israeli project. October 7th is the reason you're here watching this video today. Israel's response to it has radicalized a generation of people by exposing the Israeli state and its backers in the West for what they are: depraved, ethnic supremacist, genocidal lunatics. That's the truth.
Keep in mind that he never goes into detail on the Jewish perspective of October 7th. He just calls them lunatics and moves on.
So he shows some clips of young Israelis basically supporting genocide of Palestinians, right? The argument that you can make for that is that they're so young and yet they support such violent actions. So couldn't you justify killing young Israelis based off of the clips that Noah Samsen has shown? Can't you justify a genocide of Israeli people if they're inherently evil or inherently bad? Like, you basically, what I'm saying is that Noah Samsen, without actually deliberately saying it, he is advocating for Israeli genocide. Like, this is literally what Noah Samsen is doing.
Now, let's get to the reasoning for why I showed you all these clips of Noah dehumanizing the Israelis and also dehumanizing creators like Mudahar and Ethan Klein. After showing numerous videos of innocent Palestinians being harmed while dehumanizing the Israelis as much as possible, He says this:
The liberal framework of thought is only able to conceptualize actors in conflict as being good and bad. Israel's far-right government is bad, Ethan says, but so are terrorists. Genocide is bad. I don't agree with genocide, of course, but hijacking ships is bad too. It's against the law, which is bad. Everybody should just stop doing bad stuff. Okay, well, Israel's not stopping. They're not stopping the genocide. The US is not stopping its arms shipments so that Israel can continue that genocide. That is the material reality. If you actually want that genocide to stop, you need to do something material to try to stop it. And so far in the world, the only people doing that outside of Gaza militarily are Hezbollah and Ansar Allah. If you spend all your time attacking these groups while sitting on the sidelines idealistically opining on what forms of resistance are acceptable to you, then you're supporting the genocide. Full stop.
To be clear, he's saying violence. You need to do something material to stop it means violently attack people. But he won't outright say that because he's afraid of getting a channel strike. Actually, it's worse than that because Noah is saying here that if you don't support violence, then you're pro-genocide. And believe it or not, it gets even more worse than that as Noah goes full mask off in the next clip.
People living in the West have the most power over anyone else in the world to stop the genocide. We are living in the belly of the beast. We have direct geographical, physical access to the politicians, the propagandists, the weapons companies, and the supply chains that are facilitating this genocide. Protesting is great. We should keep doing that. But also, I feel like we have to be honest with ourselves. 17 months in, and what is protesting actually accomplished? Raising awareness, sure. Divestment, yeah, in some places. But really, politically, materially, nothing. Israel just killed the most children in its history in a single night with total impunity, with a deafening silence among the Western media. If we want this genocide to stop, it's time to escalate. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, yes.
You can lay it out very easily, one sentence at a time. It's quite clear. We in the West have direct physical access to a bunch of people, including the propagandists, after just labeling a bunch of people creators, propagandists. What does protesting achieve? Well, some things, but overall, basically nothing. If we want this to stop, we need to escalate. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. If you had a clear vision for what needs to be done to stop the genocide, you would say it because you want to direct your audience into something fruitful. Unless the thing you want your audience to do is against TOS, criminal, violent, etc. He's calling for people to do dirty work for him. That's what this is. It is unambiguously a call for violence, okay? I'm sorry. And he doesn't want to spoil his cute little life. He doesn't want to fuck his income and ruin the little cushy career that he's got a hold of. He doesn't want to do that. He wants other people to fuck up their lives and get thrown in jail or whatever else for him.
Let me repeat what that guy Lonerbox just said. Noah spends his whole video calling people like Ethan Klein genocide-supporting propagandists. Here's some clips of that so we're all on the same page.
The other piece of Zionist propaganda cited by Ethan in his video, aside from this video being a nonsensical genocidal propaganda piece, in the content nuke, he doubles down with this sort of propagandizing for the state of Israel. These people feel no shame. They're here to make money and to convince themselves that they aren't evil. And the way they do that is by lying, by spreading liberal Zionist propaganda.
So after he calls these people propagandists with a title and thumbnail that says they support genocide, after he says the correct response to this is violence, he then says, we have direct geographical access to the politicians and the propagandists. Protesting has not worked. It's time to escalate. FBI, hello? Noah Samsen just told his followers to go kill creators he doesn't like. It is abundantly clear that Noah just told people to go attack every propagandist in this thumbnail. Now, if you're wondering why we had to watch someone reacting to what Noah said instead of the original video, it's because Noah went into the YouTube editor and deleted that statement after he got called out for very obviously telling his audience to go commit acts of violence.
Okay, so that's what he said, but then it comes after this sentence here, and then that's where, so you try and stop it. People living in the West.
Right.
There it is, he chopped it. What an absolute fanny. Well, we saved it at least.
Make no mistake, this was clearly a call to action for violence from Noah. He knows who he's talking to. I'm sure he's very aware that basically all the political violence in America, outside of maybe a single day in 2021, has been caused by the left. Antifa, BLM, people burning Teslas. Effectively every violent political act over the past 10 years in America has been caused by the radical left. Now, Noah spends a lot of time pretending that he's this innocent nice guy who doesn't know things, but he's not stupid. He just pretends to be to get sympathy. In reality, he knows exactly how his audience is going to interpret what he said, And one of the things that Noah does not address from Ethan Klein's video is the part where Hassan got exposed for admitting to trying to rope viewers into extremist beliefs by easing them into it.
Then I saw clips like this where Hassan is explaining how he's hiding his power level to funnel in normies into radicalization.
I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. You want America, in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, you know, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond, social democratic ideas.
I just wanted to put emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel, where, for example, Hassan and JT catch them while they're young, as they say, and then they start looking into this new idea, etc., and then move forwards through the funnel, get more and more informed, get more and more radicalized. You do your part in the funnel for the cause, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You're doing, in my modest opinion, a great thing for the cause.
This is evil. Now, last time I did a video on Noah, I said I couldn't tell if he was just dumb or had malicious intent. Now it's very clear that Noah and Hassan both had malicious intent this whole time.
Stand on your shit, bro. You want someone to kill me? Okay, stand on it, bro. Why erase it now, fuck? I mean, this guy's legitimately should be on an FBI terrorist watch list. Like, legitimately.
We are living in the belly of the beast. We have direct geographical, physical access to the politicians, the propagandists.
And he's saying kill the politicians. I mean, There's no way to even, he can't pretend that that's not what he's saying. He's saying we need to escalate. We know where they are. What does that mean?
This whole thing confuses me. Isn't this the same asshat who spent like an hour and a half last year lecturing me about audience responsibility because people wrote mean comments that you can block on his friend's video? Like, what the fuck? This is the same guy, Noah Samsen, right? Blockable mean comments are bad, but political violence, well, that's just fine.
On December 21st of last year, the Storytime animation YouTuber Illymation released a video called Perks of Being the Fat Kid. 2 months later, the anti-woke YouTube channel Think Before You Sleep responded to Illy's video in a video titled Fat Acceptance Cartoon. Right after Sean posted this response, the comment section on Illy's video went through some changes. It was flooded with hate comments, threats, insults, inflammatory accusations, also a lot of anti-Semitism, so that's kind of weird.
That last one was wild. Imagine Noah Samsen calling you an anti-Semite less than a year ago because of some shit a random commenter wrote after like 50 different YouTubers reacted to a drama that you were involved in. This is the same guy, the guy who just made 2 videos calling Israeli Jews a bunch of rotten murderers, called me an anti-Semite because of words other people wrote. I'm not kidding, less than 12 months ago, Noah Samsen was literally saying that creators have a responsibility to make their audience play nice, and now he's essentially telling people to go burn shit down and assault YouTubers that he doesn't like. Actually, speaking of Ethan Klein, to add a little bit more context that I'm sure that Noah was aware of, a bunch of people who I'm guessing were radicalized by Hassan or his groupies called the CPS to try and get Ethan Klein's children taken away.
I knew this content nuke was going to draw a lot of negative attention, seeing how extreme Hassan and his fan base are and his orbiters. But the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after their god king Hassan has frankly gone beyond any type of point of civility and humanity, to the point where they're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating dog shit, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that way.
So Noah Samsen knows that he's talking to people who are so shameless that they'll go after a guy's children merely because he criticizes Hassan Piker. And Noah will tell those people in his video to go out and do more things like that. Like I said, this is evil. He will attempt to aid in having children being alienated from their parents because someone on the internet doesn't like a friend of his. How are you the good guy here? Now, for those of you who are beginners to Noah Samsen, this is not the first time he's expressed violent tendencies. For those of you who don't know, Noah got into his first big drama with Vosh for defending a person named Professor Flowers who believed in violently attacking white people for things their ancestors did.
I'm not saying that people should just commit genocide. I'm saying there's so many different responses to colonization.
You
and people
said they would have the right
to
to
determine
remove
what
them.
to do.
You said they would have the right to remove them.
I think if they decided like, hey, we don't want the people who colonized us to stay here, let's figure out a way to like have them move or something like that. I think that'd be very harsh. Again, that's not something that I would agree with, but I think the people who are colonized should have the self-determination to decide what to do about the people who have colonized them.
Okay, what you're saying is that any state that can justify its sense of persecution therefore has a right to engage in genocide against ethnic minorities within their borders. Every tyrannical regime does this. No tyrannical regime in history has ever said, yep, we're on top, we're the bad guys, we're just killing for fun. They always construct a narrative of persecution, and whether that narrative is correct or not really doesn't make much of a difference.
In case you didn't catch this earlier in the video, note that Noah called Jews colonizers, so I'm assuming that in his eyes, everything Professor Flowers said about white people also applies to Jews. Now, let me just say that the gaslighting from Professor Flowers was so rampant in this debate that it was genuinely difficult to cut a short clip that accurately describes her beliefs, but if you watch the full debate, it is very clear that Professor Flowers believes that if you were a white descendant in any country that was conquered by white people as far back as hundreds of years ago, then the non-white conquered population has every right to steal property from innocent whites, forcefully relocate them, and go as far as to kill them if they refuse to leave their homes. I repeat, she openly said that you should be able to do this to innocent people who took no part in the atrocities of the past that took place as far back as hundreds of years ago. Now, this was all done with very passive language and, oh, I'm not saying I would use violence if it was me, but when she was pushed on it, make no mistake that Professor Flowers had some incredibly extreme, violent beliefs. The point is that a drama that involved Noah Samsen defending Professor Flowers and her incredibly radical ideology is what initially he was known for before Hassan boosted his channel by reacting to all of his videos. Promoting violent narratives is not new for Noah Samsen, and these people are so radical that they make Vosh look like a moderate by comparison. Noah has also made multiple public threats to people. Here's him liking a tweet saying Vosh should be killed. Here's him outright defaming Chud Logic and saying he should also be killed. Here's Noah saying Alex Jones should be killed. And finally, the thing that got him banned from Twitter, a death threat to Elon Musk. Which is weird because just last week, an ex-girlfriend of his went onto the H3 podcast to accuse him of owning a Tesla.
Did you ever see him drinking Coke or playing Disney games, perhaps?
You know, I can't recall that, but I do know that he drives a Tesla. So that...
Oh, that's scandalous.
Noah isn't the only violent one. Hassan is right up there with him, saying that his political opponents should be re-educated.
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, which would surely exist, what would you do if that party started gaining momentum?
The solution to that would always be education and offering more...
re-education?
Re-education, certainly, yeah. There should be an enforcement mechanism, and in that enforcement mechanism, I think like rehabilitation, which would include re-education as well.
Tell me, how exactly would these people be re-educated? I mean, Hassan says no camps in the full context, but remember he's hiding his power level, and in the same way that I don't understand how Professor Flowers intends to steal property and relocate innocent whites without using force, I don't understand how you would re-educate a devout capitalist into your socialist paradise without the use of force. So personally, I think he's intentionally softening the language here to make people more accepting of something that would be ultimately very cruel if it was actually carried out. Hassan also called on his audience to murder a senator named Rick Scott. I believe that's what got him the 24-hour ban. Very peaceful of him. Oh, and also, since Ethan so kindly put this super clip together, here's a bunch of moments where Hassan's fan club is also saying violent shit.
Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods.
And this isn't just a Hassan problem. It underscores a disturbing trend among leftists on Twitch. The problem is, if you can believe it, these people are frequently making death threats and facing zero consequence. I know it sounds far-fetched, but I assure you it's very real.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear.
Bro, that Destiny guy needs to get
Not gonna fucking lie.
It would just be so easy to it would solve all of our problems. Like, we would have socialism now at this point, right? We would have socialism at this point if someone just went out of their way and it would be so easy.
Thing that happens, I mean, like, holy shit, guys. If you live in Florida, I have an opportunity for you. If you want to earn $100,000, let me know.
Actually, Mike from PA, the dude that's stuck in the before image of a transformation story, did receive a 3-day ban.
This man put a bounty on a fellow streamer's head. This man should not be getting a 3-day suspension. He should be getting a knock on his door from the FBI.
Going back to Noah, one last point. I actually knew about this during the Alienation drama last year, but I withheld it because there wasn't enough evidence to connect them together. But it's really funny that Noah made this whole big deal about doxing last year, when he seems to be like YouTuber best friends with Bad Empanada, who is someone who was well known for doxing before the Alienation drama.
For a more thorough breakdown of all of this video's problems, I'd recommend the YouTube channel Bad Empanada.
Yes, Noah knows that Bad Empanada doxed someone and threatens his opponents, because Noah was supposed to go on a live stream with Bad Empanada a while back after October 7th, but I believe he mysteriously ghosted that Bad Empanada stream after his followers told him how terrible of a person he was.
What about Noah Samsen?
Noah said that he can't come on. I'm not sure if he can't come on because he got yelled at by Vosh pedophile fans or because he just actually can't come on. But it's one of those things.
Damn.
Doxing isn't the worst thing that Bad Empanada has done either. I guess Noah has decided that he doesn't care now. You know, the irony of him being friends with and promoting a doxer after he was so against doxing when he made the Alienation video is insane. I don't know, maybe he decided to turn against Alienation because she's Jewish. Wait, that can't be the case. I forgot. Noah is a humanitarian who just wants to help people out. He's just a nice guy who's making this content out of the pure kindness of his heart. The other creators are only doing it because they're evil capitalists who want to monetize the Hassan Bad meta.
For the past few years, there's a big industry that's exploded in popularity, and it's based on a simple concept: Hassan Bad. It's kind of like a perpetual cycle of dumb guy slop. It's interesting to see YouTubers that typically cover TikTok drama and gaming content randomly giving their opinions on genocide and geopolitics, but that's the result of such an ecosystem. It's not about the politics, it's about making money.
Is he joking? Noah started out by reacting to TikTok videos. He doesn't have a degree in political science, and like 5 seconds before he was a political activist for Palestine, his most viewed videos were Sneeko and Fresh and Fit reactions. What qualifies you to talk about politics more than them, Noah? Watching a few dumbass FD signifier yap videos doesn't make you smart. But Noah is really insistent that other people, not him, do not actually care about this issue. They only care about the money. I mean, look at Ethan Klein. He even put a sponsor on his video, that demon.
Collect big, fat AdSense check. That's how it goes. And Ethan knew it would do well, too, and made sure to get a sponsor for the video.
Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video.
Which was a VPN company that happens to be owned by an Israeli billionaire with a history of funding and supporting the IDF. He's not a Zionist, though, apparently. Apparently he's not a Zionist, and he's pro-Palestine.
The irony of Noah sponsor shaming is insane. This is literally the same guy who has taken multiple BetterHelp sponsorships. For those of you who don't know, BetterHelp has been exposed as a horrendous company multiple times over the years, and I believe most recently, 2 years ago, they were caught leaking personal medical information from its users. This stuff about BetterHelp is very well known by YouTubers. PewDiePie even covered it a bunch of years ago, and as someone who has had a YouTube channel since he was a child, there is no way that Noah didn't know about the BetterHelp drama. The idea that Noah doesn't care about money and is just covering the Israel-Palestine situation out of the kindness of his heart and not because it's easy views is insane. Because in reality, Noah is trying to monetize this content in every possible way, like showing his Patreon at the start of each video.
If you like my videos and want to help me make more of them and faster, consider joining my Patreon. Thanks.
This is like Noah saying, I care so much about money that I want this to be the first thing that you see. The first 15 seconds of your video are the most important part of it, and him putting money first tells you what his priorities are. Oh shit, is that a sponsor link?
One tool I found helpful to compare these differences in this sort of coverage is Ground News, who are also the sponsor of today's video.
Hey look, here's a sponsor link on his second video.
This is why I'm excited to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Proton Mail.
What's this, Noah? How could you monetize this tragedy? Not to mention that the instant he gets demonetized, he goes to his community tab to e-beg his audience to donate. Which means Mr. I don't care about money is monetizing his video in 3 different ways: watch page ads, Patreon donations, and brand deals. So let's be clear, if there wasn't money involved in this, Noah would not be covering this topic. Now, not to say that YouTubers can't make money. I mean, this world is tough, and if you can get the views, then you should get your bag too. I'm not here to try to cancel people for making money off their work, but what I will do is make fun of frauds like Noah, who pretend they have the moral high ground when they are doing the exact same thing they said is bad. Noah is clearly doing this for money, and I imagine that another reason that he stopped covering creator drama as much and shifted to Israel-Palestine is because he kept getting roasted and destroyed in every drama that he was involved in. I really don't think there's one drama that Noah has won. And personally, I think there's going to be a few more consequences to losing this drama than there were for the other ones. The most recent update from Ethan Klein was a live stream where he further emphasized that he was serious about this and won't be backing down legally.
Noah Samsen, me and Mudahar together teamed up, and we sent a demand for retraction to Noah Samsen Monday night after the show. And so, the ball is now in your court, sir. You have 20 days from the moment you received it to respond.
He also informed people that he would be going after Bad Empanada as well, which is a whole nother defamation rabbit hole to go down. Unfortunately, Bad Empanada lives in Argentina, which makes it a lot harder to go after him for defamation and harassment. However, Ethan has noted that after Bad Empanada went after his children, he is willing to spend obscene amounts of money to make sure that Bad Empanada actually gets in trouble for breaking the law.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they pushed it so far to the point where there needs to be accountability. People like George Janitis, the human STD, and people like Noah Samsen, they are materially rewarded. They get no pushback from their community. They get plugged. They get massively shouted out and supported by Hassan and co. So for them, they just see green lights all the way. Like, oh yeah, the more I lie, the more malicious that I be about this person, the more views, the more Hassan's going to put me on for sure. Just as mean as I can be about Mudahar or Ethan or anyone that's talked bad about him. So they've created this atmosphere, and listen, it's time for some accountability. I think it's a good thing that, you know, a Jew and a Muslim are together standing up for what's right against just it's beautiful, man.
Well, I guess there's a silver lining in that. Now, there's one more interesting perception that Ethan had here about this whole situation during his live stream. Allow me to just play it.
What Hassan does, you guys are going to learn throughout all this, is that these are his attack dogs. He uses them to say the shit that he wouldn't say, to attack the people in ways that is obviously below the belt, that is unacceptable. And instead of having to say it himself, he rewards them by watching their entire videos on his stream in its entirety. And it's basically as good as him saying it in that case, but he doesn't have any of the liability. So that's why he throws it. And now in George's case, this is proven a symbiotic relationship because George is out in Argentina away from most forms of accountability, right? Now, Noah is actually being played as a fucking idiot because Noah is doing his dirty work, but he's doing it from Los Angeles. Now, what do you think of that? Noah, you're about to find out that you're a tool, my friend. And I look forward to Hassan paying for your lawyer fees, too. I mean, that's the least he could do, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think Hassan is 100% using these people as a mouthpiece to say the stuff that he actually wants to say, and in return, he gives them an audience and special privileges and protections at Twitch. He's sacrificing them so he doesn't get in trouble. So personally for me, anytime Hassan signal boosts one of these sociopaths by reacting to their content, I'm going to assume that it's just as good as him saying it. As for what to do now, all I have to say is that war is a complicated situation. Personally, I think there are very few wars that are done for just reasons, and almost all of them are about land and resources at the cost of innocent people's lives. Whatever excuse politicians give you, it's just that, an excuse. I would highly recommend people read a book called War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. It's a very short but enlightening read about war. I think that nonviolent and peaceful solutions are the best way to enact change. Violence should always be a last resort defensive option, particularly since all the asshole warmongers who love to take up powerful government positions want us to be violent because they make huge profits off of war. War is also a great excuse for those leaders to step all over American rights, like how the Fourth Amendment was destroyed after 9/11 and the war on terror that came after it. I think the only way to actually prevent wars is to teach people how to not get tricked by propagandistic, manipulative sociopaths like Noah, get people to stop listening to race grifters because racism is a major enabler of war, and keep our major platforms in favor of free speech so when people do evil things, real journalists can expose them. This is why I hate censorship and why fighting for the ability to say offensive words is an important battleground, because it's the same battleground that gives people the ability to criticize war or messed up things like COVID lockdowns. Tyrants will always try to increase public acceptance of censorship by going after the most offensive things first, before they then try to censor people for saying that putting a dirty t-shirt over your face will not stop you from catching an airborne virus. Accurate information is the most important thing for a society, and it's why free speech is the First Amendment. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.